Welcome to the 2024-2025 NFL season, and welcome to episode 1 of the Prop Shop. I am Bobby Stanley, also known as PropHolliday on social media. We are going to be meeting live every primetime game this regular season, Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to break down the game. I'm going to give you my favorite player props. We're going to talk some touchdown scores. But first, I want to start with an opening monologue. It's going to be something I do pretty frequently on this show. It's going to be something relative to sports. And this one is what everybody's talking about currently in the NFL. I want to talk about Jamar Chase and his contract situation for just 1 minute. Let's peel back the onion on this. For those that don't know, fourth-year wide receiver Jamar Chase has been holding out for a new contract. He's heading into his fourth year, coming off 3 years of experience. Typically, this is weighted for in your fifth year, so it's a little bit earlier than expected. It is no coincidence that this is tied into Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb completely resetting the market this summer, and Chase feels he's in that group. Talent-wise, I would agree with him. He is in that group. But again, the timing is unfortunate because he's doing it a year early compared to these other guys on a standard rookie deal. Usually that happens heading into year 5. Also worth noting, the Cincinnati Bengals just gave T. Higgins a 1-year, $21.8 fully guaranteed, $21.8 million fully guaranteed deal. This is the window for the Bengals. And let's go a little bit more on why this contract situation is so different than the rest. Bengals owner Mike Brown is not your standard owner. He is a millionaire, billionaire maybe, but all of his money is tied up in the Cincinnati Bengals. He does not have other financial investments that he can pull from. According to the CBA dictates when you want to pay someone guaranteed money, you need to put that money in escrow. Using CeeDee Lamb's $67 million guaranteed signing bonus, guaranteed over the contract as a benchmark, Mike Brown now has to go get a loan for Chase's $68 million and pay interest on it. And I think that's what's holding this entire situation up. Now, Chase was limited in practice on Wednesday. There's rumblings from the coach. I don't know what to expect. Joe Burrow saying he's good to go. Worth mentioning that Joe Burrow got his contract extension the night of kickoff last year. Could that mean that Chase gets his deal done tonight? Possibly. They could be saving it right before kickoff so the Bengals get some good PR. I have no doubts that Chase will eventually get paid, but doing it a year ahead of schedule is going to limit their flexibility going forward while they're under this umbrella with Chase on a cheap deal. Yes, they still have T. Higgins on the 1-year deal. It's safe to say that this Bengals team is going to look very, very different starting 2025. Sorry to my producer, Ant, who is a Bengals fan, but you're all in this year. And I think this contract situation is definitely a different one than we've seen in the past and something to monitor as we head in. My expectation, Chase is going to get a deal done. He's going to get his one penny more than Justin Jefferson. And I'm curious the interest rate that Mike Brown gets on this money in escrow. But with that, let's talk about tonight's matchup in the Baltimore Ravens heading to Kansas City to kick off the regular season. Now, the line was 2.5 in July. It stayed at 3 since July 19th. Has not moved away from that magic 3 number. The total's at 46.5, and it stayed fairly steady in that same time frame. Worth mentioning, the Chiefs beat the Baltimore Ravens 17-10 in the AFC Championship game last year. Yes, that game was in Baltimore. If I take anything away from that AFC Championship game to tonight's game, it would be Lamar Jackson's success in play action passes. Now, he's averaging 3.5 yards more per pass attempt in play action versus not in play action. Half of his yards in that AFC Championship game came in play action situations, and the Chiefs defense ranked 31st in defensive success rate against play action passing in 2023. Is that going to be the case going forward this year? There's been some changes, tweaks to that Chiefs defense. We'll talk a little bit more about that. The reason that Lamar Jackson has so much success in the play action is because defense, they don't have the ability to commit to him as a runner, commit to him as a passer, and it really opens things up for him. I think he took strides last season in this Todd Monken offense, in this passing game with 3 wide receiver sets, short dink and dunk, get the ball out of his hands quick, and then eventually when we bring you all closer, we're going to hit you deep. I saw that last year in the regular season. It didn't happen in the AFC Championship game. So why did they lose? Well, Steve Spagnuolo blitzed the living hell out of Lamar Jackson, completely shut down his running lanes. They went 3 of 11 on third downs in that AFC Championship game. I'm really looking forward to see if that's the case tonight. And the Chiefs just completely own time of possession in that game. Let's look at some of those play action stats for Baltimore from last season. And if you don't have NFL Pro, this isn't a plug. Us at the GoldBoys, we're not getting paid for this. But it is a tool that I think every player prop handicapper should have. Looking at NFL Pro, out of 150 play action plays this season, 125 resulted in passing plays. So the other 25, Lamar Jackson tuck it and ran. 29 completions went to Zay Flowers, 19 to Rashad Bateman, 11 to OBJ, no longer on the Baltimore Ravens, 18 to Mark Andrews, and 10 to Likely. Let's bunch those together and just say 28 targets to the tight end in those play action situations. What does everybody want to know for betting? Who did the touchdown scores go in play action? There were 8 play action touchdown passes last season for the Baltimore Ravens. 3 went to Likely, 1 went to Mark Andrews, 3 to Zay Flowers, and 1 to Patrick Ricard, who I don't think anyone in their right mind is betting tonight. So those were the touchdowns in play action. That's how I feel about the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm really putting this more on Lamar Jackson and see how they pivot away from what happened in the AFC Championship game. And I may have forgot to mention Derrick Henry's on the Ravens now. Not sure if you're aware of this or heard this storyline going in, but Derrick Henry is a Raven. We'll touch on him a little bit when we get into the game. It's been hammered to death. You don't need to hear it more from me. It's going to be exciting to see what he looks like in purple. I do think this is the perfect offense for him. My only concern with Derrick Henry is when the bottom falls out on these guys, it falls out fast. You don't go from an all pro to just a pro bowler. You fall off a cliff. He has a lot of miles on those tires, but he's not going to see that type of workload, I don't think, compared to a Mike Vrabel offense. They have a lot of weapons. They're going to rely more on Lamar Jackson, and I think he's going to feast in the red zone. But I'm playing more wait and see on Derrick Henry tonight than anyone else. Let's talk about the Chiefs side of the ball. Kansas City Chiefs, since 2000, defending Super Bowl champions against the spread, 14-9-1 in week 1. But they're 0-3 over the last 3 seasons. That's including the Chiefs' loss to the Lions last year on opening night. Let's talk about the changes to this Chiefs Super Bowl team. L'Jarius Sneed, cornerback, all pro, gone to the Tennessee Titans. Left tackle Donovan Smith, he is gone. Linebacker Willie Gay, he went down to New Orleans. And left guard Nick Allegretti is now on the Commanders. Those are some key pieces at key positions that are moving away. But this happens when you win a Super Bowl. You get your ring, you go get paid. I have no doubt that they can backfill some of this. But let's look at the additions. Big addition, Marquise Hollywood Brown, former Baltimore Raven, not playing tonight. We'll talk more about who his backup may be. And Carson Wentz, everybody remembered him. He is now the backup quarterback. No more Chase Daniel days. So if Mahomes goes down, we get to watch Carson Wentz run around. There's no reason on paper that the Kansas City Chiefs can't do the impossible and win 3 straight Super Bowls, but that's far easier said than done. What they're doing, and I don't like using hyperbole. You will not see me using this frequently throughout the season. This is Tom Brady-esque. They're approaching their 3rd Super Bowl. They've already been to 3. And I'm sorry, I think they're 3 and 4. I forget what it is off the top of my head. This is historic what they're doing. And we're going to benchmark everything Mahomes does against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But they are trending in that direction. Now, it's worth noting on the Baltimore Ravens side of the ball, they lost defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald. He's now the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Macdonald blitzed at the 4th lowest rate of the season last year, getting replaced with new defensive coordinator Zachary or projections say he's going to blitz closer to that league average at 30%. Good luck blitzing Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to take the Chiefs tonight, laying the 3 points. All right. Now, let's talk about some plays. Gonna kick it off with my favorite play of the game, my first play of the game, and it's on our boy Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, over 19.5 completions at minus 125. I saw some 20.5s out there. I gave this out for 1 unit at the 19.5, but let's run through the numbers before we talk about the 20.5. Caught my eye immediately going through his props. His median completions last season was 21. What's a median, Bob? Well, you have your best performance, your top 3 or 4 games. Those could be in overtime. Those could be blowouts. That could be best case scenario. That doesn't mean much to me. You have your bottom 3 performances. You have Everything went wrong. It was injured. You couldn't hold on to the ball. You lost a turnover battle. You're playing from behind. That's not indicative of who this team is. I like to live in the middle. So I use median a little bit more than averages. And when you're talking about player props, every decimal point matters. So median completions, 21 last year on 67% completion rate. I think that was a career high for him in Monken's offense. Far more completions for Lamar on the road versus at home. Big thing for me, Mark Andrews is back. And the matchup with Kansas City, I think, indicates a little bit more of a back and forth game. In games that Lamar Jackson passed for 27 and a half or more attempts, he hits this line in 7 of 9 games. I think his total tonight's at 30 and a half. It's juiced to the under. But let's use that number at 30. At a 67% completion percentage, we're looking at about 21.1. So yeah, I'm sorry, it's at 31 and a half. Let's project him at the 31. We're looking at 21.1. I don't mind playing this at 20 and a half. Just bring that unit size down. Go to a 0.75. If you can get the 19 and a half, lay the 25-cent juice, put the 1 unit on it. We mentioned the success with play action. It's short, quick passes. Getting the ball out of his hands to guys like Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews being back. I think we're going to see some Justice Hill out of the backfield to spell Derrick Henry. I love the completion play here. Go over 19 and a half completions for Lamar Jackson. Now, got another one. This one, and you're going to see this from me a lot in the regular season. I don't give out crazy parlays. You're not going to see 10-leg parlays from me. I'll do some alt lines here. I'm a ladder guy. If I love a baseline and I see a lot of potential on the upside, I'm going to ladder it. And that's where Justin Watson comes in tonight for me. I'm laddering Justin Watson almost every which way you can, but I'm going to talk about 1 unit play, Justin Watson, over 1.5 receptions. 2 receptions from Watson. If you like these ladder plays, which I do, and you are lucky enough to be in a state that carries Bet365, it's one of my favorite books, especially as a player prop handicapper. I use it far too often. I'm still waiting to get booted. Bet365 is giving new users, giving new users a choice of 2 fantastic offers. Either get a safety net on your first bet up to $1,000, or bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. It's your call. Click the link in the episode description to pick up that offer that's right for you. You must be 21 plus, but it's only 18 plus in Kentucky. If you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. That $1,000 first bet bonus, if you ever get into a parlay situation where it's your last leg and you need to hedge, save that $1,000 first bet for your hedge situation. You'll thank me later, if it ever gets to that. Now, let's talk about Justin Watson in a little bit more detail. I'm laddering him, as you can see on the screen. I'm going the receptions. We're going over 1.5. So 2 receptions, 3 receptions, and 4 receptions. And I'm playing his standard yards at 14 and a half. According to the Chiefs depth chart, Watson is behind Hollywood Brown in that wide receiver 2 role. Hollywood Brown is out tonight. Should be back next week, but he's out tonight. However, Andy Reid's been quietly pumping Watson to reporters. I go in, I try to read a lot of these fan sites, a lot of these message boards, because they give you a lot of in-depth stuff from the local journalists that we normally don't get following national media. So from an article from the other day, Kansas City fan site, wide receiver Hollywood Brown was injured in the preseason, will be unavailable to start this evening, leaving a void in the Kansas City Chiefs offense. Andy Reid addressed Brown's absence, but suggested veteran receiver Justin Watson is more than ready to step up into the role. He spoke about it during Sunday's press conference after practice. Direct quote from Andy Reid. Yeah, Justin's always been a big part of it, silently. He doesn't say much. He doesn't get into a lot of publicity. He's always been a big part of what we do. That part won't change. He'll be in there running around, and even when Hollywood comes back, he'll be in there running around. So he's smart, skilled kid who loves to play the game, plays hard every snap, and practices. We saw this last season, opening the year. They had Rashee Rice. He was a rookie. Watson started last season, first 3 games of last season, with 2 receptions for 45 yards, 3 receptions for 62 yards, and 2 receptions for 51 yards. He's I don't want to say a deep threat because he's not taking the top off of defenses, but when those longer 5-7 step drops happen and the plays are unfolding and Mahomes can keep it alive with his legs, he's being found 15, 20 yards downfield. He averaged 17 yards per reception last season in in 2023. I'm getting his total at 14 and a half. You could still play it at 15 and a half. There's some 13 and a halfs out there. This could be one catch for Watson. I think he's going to be out there anywhere from 50 to 60% of the snaps. So getting good value on the receiving yards. I went with the receptions for my ladder. Reason I did that, I wouldn't go higher than four. He only had more than four receptions once all of last season. So keep it in that 3-4 range. When you're playing these ladders, bring that unit size down. So if I'm going one unit on over 1.5, I'm going half a unit on 3+, and I'm going um, it, it's where you can get some of your money back. I would highly recommend this approach to ladders and being very smart with your unit size. Um, I think this is a great spot for Watson. A lot of people are expecting Xavier Worthy to rookie. I think Reed's going to bring him a little bit slower. We saw that with Rashee Rice last year. So Watson going to be on the field 60% of the snaps. I'm projecting him 4 to 5 targets. So I feel really good about this two catch play, and then going over to that on the receptions. But there's a scenario in this game where he's getting anywhere from 5 to 7 targets if the early ones go well. So feeling great on my one unit plays, but play that ladder up if you want some crazy odds. Someone, Nathan Pratt, you just found 19.5 completions at plus 105 on DraftKings. I like it. I'm playing the numbers here. I'm playing the matchup. If you got DraftKings, you haven't put this one in yet, get plus 105. I was the guy when DraftKings dropped a week ago. I jumped on some lines. I saw 20.5 last night. Something may have changed. Maybe we got a lot of money crazy on the under 20.5. But I still love the 19.5. I think it's a good play. If you can get it at plus money, even better. I want to go over to my touchdown liquor cabinet. And anyone out there who has followed this show last year, bring it over to the GoldBoys. The touchdown liquor cabinet was some of the most fun I've had doing podcasts. What is the touchdown liquor cabinet? Well, you have your top shelf, what you would spend top dollar on. You have your best touchdown scores, not necessarily the best, not necessarily Derrick Henry. I rarely give out a minus 120 play or a minus 110. I hate negative odds when it comes to touchdown scores. But if I get a plus money play that I feel really good about, there's your top shelf. Then we're going to go to your mid shelf. That's your plus 180 to plus 285. You're going to bring that unit size down a little bit, depending what you're working with, maybe half a unit to 0.25. This is your mid shelf. This is I'm getting value where I feel like I shouldn't. It's a good matchup. It's a guy who's going to see a lot of targets. I got a weak red zone defense, or I think it's going to be a blowout, and I'm going to roll with my backup running back here. That's your mid shelf when it comes. And then we got Well Vodka. Well Vodka is Well Vodka prices, and that's when you bring that unit size down, but we get the long shots. Let's open up my top shelf player prop touchdown score for tonight's game. It's Isaiah Pacheco. I got him at plus 105. You can shop this around. I saw plus 110s and a couple plus 115s out there, depending what book you're on. I love Pacheco in year 3 to make a jump. If you can get him at plus money, it's almost an auto bet for me in this offense. I think he takes the leap. He had 9 touchdowns in 14 games last season. He's involved in both the passing and in the running game. Samaje Perine is suiting up tonight, so will not be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That just makes me love Pacheco just that much more. When you have Patrick Mahomes, you're never going to abandon the pass game. I have no expectation of that. But I think we're going to move away this season from its Mahomes and Kelsey to maybe it's Mahomes, Kelsey, and Pacheco. I do think he's that good of a running back. And getting him at plus money odds. Yes, this is a Ravens defense that was very, very good in the red zone last season. But like we said, Mike McDonald's gone, and I'm very curious to see how they look early on. And Pacheco can get it done breaking away, not just in the red zone. So love Pacheco tonight at plus money odds wherever you can get it. I got it for half a unit at plus 105. I want to move to the mid shelf. My mid shelf guys. This is your Jack Daniels, your Bacardi, your Tito's. My mid shelf, Zay Flowers. We talked about him a lot when I mentioned the play action passing. He had 5 touchdowns last season. And that NFL Pro I was talking about, I got to go back and watch all 5. He did it every which way you can imagine. He wins very well in small spaces. 3 of his 5 touchdowns came within 10 yards or under last season. He did have a 75-yard bomb, and you're giving me 2-1. I'm getting plus 210 on this. You may be able to get a plus 215, but if I'm getting 2-1 on this, and there's no more L'Jarius Sneed, I want to know, is Trent McDuffie going to be following these wide receiver ones like L'Jarius Sneed was? Is he going to be glued to the slot? We're going to find out tonight. But for Zay Flowers being a top target for Lamar Jackson and that play action passing game, I'm playing him at 2-1. So we're rolling with Zay Flowers there for our mid shelf. And now we got to bring it to Well Vodka. Well Vodka is your Majorska. It's happy hour prices. Do not go crazy on this. But let's start with Rashad Bateman. So another wide receiver. Heading into week one, a lot of what we do, at least from a player prop handicapper standpoint, is you're going to buy into some of that camp hype. You have to. I mean, can this guy ascend into a bigger role? Did someone leave? So with Rashad Bateman, he had one touchdown last season. And I'm buying the camp hype. There's no more Odell Beckham. Everything coming out of camp is he's finally ready to make a leap and take on a bigger role, take on a bigger target share. He's about 6'1", 6'2". He was a former first-round draft pick out of Minnesota. Another guy I'm expecting to be in that 50 to 60% snap range. And again, if Trent McDuffie does end up trailing that Zay Flowers, I like whatever matchup Rashad Bateman's getting. I'm getting 4-1 on this guy in 3 wide receiver sets. I don't think he plays anything less than 50, 60% of the snaps. That's what we're looking for. We want guys who aren't leaving the field. And at Well Vodka prices, throw $10 on this, plus 410 for our guy Rashad Bateman. And then we go to the cheapest of cheap vodkas there are. I had to come correct. Juju Smith-Schuster recently added to the Kansas City Chiefs. He is a former Kansas City Chief. He was kind of waiting around to get signed. He gets picked up this week. His odds I saw at one point, I think, were plus 750. I grabbed him at 6-1. Can't say it enough, guys. This is gas station swill that we're playing on. But if you're getting 6-1, 7-1, he knows the offense. There's no Hollywood Brown. Outside of Kelsey, I feel good about Watson. Other than that, I mean, are we going to get Sky Moore? Are we going to get McCole Hardman? I'll take 6-7-1 with Patrick Mahomes throwing to anybody. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in some sub packages early on, at least maybe in red zone settings. He's going to know where he needs to be, and the connection is there. This is a $5 play, guys. Throw $5 on Juju Smith-Schuster. You don't have to, but this is game one, week one, and I know we want some action. Guys, this is the Prop Shop. We're going to be doing this every primetime game at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. I thank you for listening to me ramble for the last 20 minutes. Make sure you run and put in Lamar Jackson over 19.5 receptions. We're getting that at plus 105. And the Justin Watson ladder. This guy's going to show up for us. Touchdown scores. Pacheco, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and Juju Smith-Schuster. If he comes through, do not forget about us. Thank you to GoldBoys, and thank you to Bet365. I will see you Sunday at halftime of the 4 o'clock games.